very warm welcome also from the German cruise industry. I was going to start with saying ladies and chairs and the few gentlemen that are here, but since the room is filling up, I don't know if this is because the other conference is rather boring that's running concurrently, or because cruise industry is finally catching up and becoming top of mind in the ports around the world as well. The cruise industry worldwide, please bear in mind that it just presents 0.5%. Despite all the numbers that we have seen, all the growth perspectives and so forth, it's just 0.5% of total global shipping. So yes, growth rates are rather impressive, but please keep that in mind throughout. And what still lies ahead for the German soccer team, to use an analogy that's quite common here, is something the cruise industry in Germany has already achieved. We are the European champions. We had about 1.8 million guests last year, which is now #1 cruise market in Europe and #2 next to the USA worldwide. It's been a long journey. It wasn't always easy. But today, the port of Hamburg, for instance, without a doubt, is one of the top-ranking ports in Europe, not just in terms of calls and so forth, but also in terms of numbers of cruise companies and companies related to the cruise industry that are headquartered here. There is Clear Germany, which, by the way, I also represent the Cruise Line International Association. There's Hapag-Lloyd, there's TUI, there's Costa Crociere, there's Cunard, there's AIDA Cruises, of course, and since April also Carnival Maritime, which is the world's first central marine operations center here. So, getting back to one of the questions that was asked earlier, the economic impact of the cruise business is by far more than obviously just the fees and dues that a port is receiving. So you always have to bear in mind the entire value chain that a cruise guest and cruise business brings to a city, to a location, to a port, and not just a particular interest that everyone is responsible for. So much for the introduction. To give you a better picture from the industry where we stand today, I would like to take a quick look back at the beginnings here in Hamburg, which are quite similar to those worldwide. In the 1950s, there was some of the first calls. It was by our sister company Cunard. Queen Elizabeth then started coming regularly throughout the 70s, but cruise industry did not really become an independent business sector until the end of the 90s. So from 1997 to 2000, there were about 20 to 30 stops here in the city with around 25,000 passengers a year. And then it started continuously rising from 2005 onwards. So not only became cruising more and more top of mind in the German travelers, or guests, as we call them, not passengers. They're not units, they're not containers, they're people, they're guests. But also due to the modern infrastructure that was built in several ports, like here in Hamburg. And only a few years ago, admittedly, the notion of this being a sustainable business and that this is a rising business sector has finally been recognized here as well by the local government and by the stakeholders. But it has been recognized, and it has been recognized very, very broadly by now. My own company, AIDA Cruises, we had to do some exchanges with very simple means in the beginning of the 2000s. We improvised by using tents. Starting in 2004, the first dedicated terminal was built, then it was extended, and it could handle 4,000 guests. In 2011, another terminal was built, and next week, actually, June 9th, the third dedicated cruise terminal will be inaugurated here in the port of Hamburg. So thanks to the city of Hamburg for supporting this, thanks to the Port Authority, to all stakeholders involved, to the authorities in general. This is a common vision that we have developed. It's a common goal that we have. Everyone has pretty much set the right course for successfully continuing our common growth. However, thinking about the future, even already today, and since a few years back, actually, we said that 3 terminals may not be enough, that the facilities for the future need to be extended. Now, if you think about the application of Hamburg for the 2024 Olympic Games, this would be a perfect opportunity to be able to reuse the facilities that will be built, the infrastructure. So Hamburg will need a 4th terminal in the future, or a 4th facility in the future, and it'll be perfect in conjunction with the Olympic Games. And I'm convinced that hosting the Games in 2024, or maybe even in 2028, will sustainably boost Hamburg's international status as a cruise location. And if you look back at Barcelona, what happened in 1992, Barcelona has impressively shown that this is possible. So again, think about the big picture. Don't just think about your ports. Think about the value chain and think about the economic impact that cruise business has for your city or for your region. That was the outlook. Where do we stand today? I mean, those numbers you have mostly seen in Douglas's presentation already. Just a few highlights, again, from a German perspective. There was 200, this is worldwide, 278 ocean cruise-going ships and 133 river ships. Again, only half a percent of worldwide shipping. The situation in Germany is such that it's by far the fastest growing sector in tourism. Tourism overall, volumes, travelers, revenues are pretty much stable, but cruising is growing by double digits year over year. As I said, in 2014, we have reached a record result, and we are pretty certain that this will continue in the next few years, that we will reach the 2 million mark within maybe this, but definitely next year, and the 3 million mark in the next 3 to 4 years. So you can see the CAGR of the past years was double digit, and that's something really to be proud of. So all leading indicators, besides just growth in numbers of guests, are also up. Total revenue increased in Germany to 3.1 billion euro. The average ticket price, and that is really very good news, also increased to 1,530 euros per person. That is based on 8-point-something average days, average voyage duration. The daily rates rose for international cruise lines, but, and that is even better news, for German cruise lines. The increase was even higher, to 184 euros per person per day, which is a clear sign again that dedicated German-speaking products are preferred by German travelers. Where do Germans most like to travel to? Of course, the Mediterranean, with a share of about 30%. And up and coming, and even growing stronger than the Mediterranean in the past few years, is Northern and Western Europe, and the Baltic Sea together account for 36% already, because it's much easier accessible to many. So 80% of Germans travel on cruise ships within Europe. A few more demographics. The average age was about 50, which is about 10 years younger, Douglas, if I'm not mistaken, than the worldwide average. And we do enjoy a repeat ratio of over 50%, so very, very loyal guests. And all that goes really nicely together with the demographic development in Germany. And this chart also clearly shows that multi-generational holidays are the big trend in the moment and for the foreseeable future. But In our view, age is not a differentiating factor any longer. Factors like consumer behavior, personal interest, psychographic factors are much, much more important, and those are the ones we address in our advertising. In 2014, back to Hamburg, over 600 cruise ships stopped at German ports. Hamburg ranked #1 with close to 600,000 passenger movements again. So that is 588,000 guests in and out. And 93% of the total traffic is attributed to the top 3 ports, which is Hamburg, Rostock, Warnemünde, and Kiel. So again, economic impact studies have shown, for instance, in the city of Hamburg, a third, and this was done by the Chamber of Commerce a couple of years ago, a third of all guests come here, go on a cruise, or come here a couple of days earlier, or stay a couple of days longer after a cruise, spend on average longer time than a typical tourist in the city, and spend more money on hotel and other discretionary spending than a typical tourist. So it's a great opportunity for any city when a ship comes to showcase their town, to showcase their destination. But of course, it only works if port and all the tourism-related businesses work hand in hand. We believe that our growth potential is far from exhausted, and the market so far, as Mr. Ward has also shown, has only grown as much as capacity that was added. By 2017, 25 more ocean-going ships will be put into service, and 5 of them dedicated to the German market. So Germany, the growth in Germany is already preset, and will continue for those years to come. So in closing, obviously, it's not just all about growth and perspectives. We also do have some challenges. Cruising has become very affordable. It has arrived in the middle of society. It has been it's now reachable by a very broad audience. It has become the lifestyle choice. It has enormous variety, safety, and what is our biggest value proposition or our biggest hook is by far the best price-value ratio. And there's no other holiday that is, in particular no all-inclusive holiday, that combines such convenience, safety, and eco-friendliness. And that's a point I really tried to make in closing, because that is also, of course, one of our challenges. We advertise with pristine environments. That's part of our product. That's part of our value proposition. That's a selling point. So we think as a cruise industry, we have a special responsibility to keep the environment as pristine as possible. So improving the eco-balance will continue to be a central issue, not just in the ports, but any destination we go to. So conserving resources, sustainable business, and consistent protection of the environment will ensure that we will also be able to successfully offer cruises in the future. It goes without saying that the best ton of fuel is the one we don't need. So in our view, environmental protection and business interests are not a contradiction at all. For years, cruise companies and ship manufacturers have been making considerable investments in the development and the implementation of eco-technology, eco-friendly system and technology. Here are just a few examples: modern filter technology, an LNG hybrid barge, which supplied green energy to a cruise ship for the first time ever. For the first time ever, last Saturday, here in the port of Hamburg. Then, of course, shore power and cold ironing. Sorry, I'm jumped a little bit ahead with my slides. A sewage treatment system, heat recovery systems, waste separation, and in the future also air lubrication systems to further cut down on the use of energy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are, despite all that, we are an industry that makes vacation dreams come true. And we live off exceeding guest expectations. This is our business, this is our primary goal, this is our main driver behind our work. And it only works in conjunction with all stakeholders if they work hand in hand on all the issues previously mentioned. So I don't see, personally, I don't see any obstacle that will prevent us from continuing our growth path with you, with the ports in the future. I thank you for your attention. Enjoy the rest of your conference and the beautiful city of Hamburg, and I hope to see you on board of one of our, and especially you, on board of our beautiful vessels soon in the future. Thank you.